7 o'clock. We're here to discuss the upcoming Halloween event on Bender Avenue. With that, I brought Captain McCafferty of our Roselle Park Police Department in to address any questions, concerns, and so forth and so on. So I will basically, does anybody got any questions up front? Or
What hours are they going to
well,
allow this to happen?
that's what we're basically kind of like here for. As you know, this Saturday also from 11 to 1, they're having the trunk or treat at the Church of the Assumption. The Knights of Columbus is running that. So it was suggested that it would go from basically like from 2 to 6, because the kids are up at that end of town, all in their costumes, ready to go. So then they can come down here, 6 o'clock. It would be to the fact that come 6, a little after 6, the police department can make the announcements to get everybody clear the streets, and hopefully by 7 o'clock, within the time frame, it would go back to normal hours.
I think 6 is way too early. We did it last Saturday. Last time it was on a Saturday. It still went to 7. I was just looking, because I was out at 6 o'clock on the road. The sun is still out at 6 o'clock, so nobody gets to see anything in the dark, any of the lights, any of the decorations. It's only like a 45-minute period you have from 6:15 to 7 where you have some dark.
It's not up to me. It's basically up to the, I would say the residents of Bender Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
So, come 6, 6:30, by the time the sirens, everybody's cleared by 7.
But it only, by the time they run the sirens, it takes about 15 minutes.
I don't know the lingering time.
And everyone is off the streets. I mean,
So,
I know it. I've been doing it long enough.
From a police department standpoint, we don't mind if it goes till 6 to 7. We're going to have our resources out there for the safety of the kids and the people. So if it's decided here that it goes to 7:30, if it's decided that it goes to 6, either way we have people allocated for it. So we're not biased one way or another. We're really waiting for a consensus to be decided, and then we're going to act on that. So we don't mind it. If the majority says 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock, it's fine with us either way. For me, Mr. Major?
How are you going to keep the residents and the Halloweeners safe?
We're not going to do anything different than we've done in years past, and that would be closing streets off, putting light towers out. Something we've done the past few years, which we'll do again, is we're going to put signboards out, and those signboards are going to tell people to try and let people know what time the trick-or-treating ends. So to this gentleman's point, if we ended at 7 and we come through with the police cars and we make the announcement, we're hoping that it would clear up soon thereafter.
As you folks had done, the police department had done last year.
That's correct.
And over the
And years past as well.
And there was no incidents and whatever.
Knock on wood, there hasn't been any incidents. But that's the reason why we start off, we close the 200 block, and then as it progresses, we close the 100 block. As the crowds get bigger, we close the 300 block. If I can tell you that if the crowds weren't large, we're only closing the streets as it calls for it. So we're not closing the 300 block, let's say a Bender, in anticipation of crowds. It's when the crowds get big enough that it's a safety issue.
The residents on Bender Avenue had said, rough guess, about 2,500 to 3,000 people.
More than that. More than that.
They had 4,000.
It was over
2 years ago.
4,000.
4,000.
Over 4,000.
And it's well into the thousands, there's no mistaking that.
And the police department kept them safe.
Correct.
4,000 people.
Correct.
I got a question concerning what you just said, which is a little bit at odds with what occurred last year compared to the year before. What you said mirrored what happened the year prior to last.
What's that?
The whole crowds get bigger, we wait and we see, we do a little here, we do a little here. That was a disaster. Last year, it was set from 3 to 7, the barricades went up at 3. It wasn't the 100 block at 3, the 200 block at 3:30, the 300 block at 4 o'clock. It was 3. Every barricade was up at 3 because that keeps everyone from parking on the block and then starting to trick or treat, who then have to leave 45 minutes later and get in their cars. What you just said is you have a whole big crowd of people, you put the barricades, and then 45 minutes later, all these people are trying to drive out of their parking spots.
I actually didn't say anything about parking spots at all, you said that.
Yeah.
But what I said was, we've done that in the past where we've closed the streets off as it was needed.
But last year, that's not what we did.
Okay.
We had a set time, barricades up at this hour, barricades down at this hour.
You know, we were certainly willing to do it that way again then. If you felt that
Yeah, I
that
mean,
worked well, and that's,
At least for us,
I
on
can
the
check with the
300
traffic
block,
officer
it worked
today.
extremely well last
Okay.
year, compared to the year before, where we had people and cars in the middle of the road.
we
At
try
the
and make
same
it
time.
clear, we put that signboard out the day before, we let people know that we're gonna be having that trick or treating during that time. So this year, we're planning on having 3 signboards, whereas in years past, we had the one on the
One on
200
each
block.
block.
Mhm.
So one on the 100, 200, 300 blocks, for that reason that you're mentioning, so that we don't have cars coming in and out, so people know that the area is gonna be congested and shut down.
Well, it's 7 o'clock now, it's completely
It's
dark.
dark.
Yeah.
I won't see a problem at 6 o'clock.
Well, at 6 o'clock, the sun was out. I just explained that. I was out on the road, and at 6 o'clock, the sun was. I mean, I'm not stopping anything at 6 o'clock. That's a little ridiculous.
6:20 is.
It's been 7 o'clock for the past 15 years as far as an end time
Closer to
goes.
8:30 by the
It's
time.
just a
Well,
guy.
look, folks, that's the reason why we're here, to come up with a set time.
Yeah.
From what I've been hearing, and from the phone calls I've been getting, the majority of people want to go from 2 to 7. Because the kids are coming from the trunk or treat down to here, as Mr. Checo said, by 7 o'clock, then the police start with the lights and the sirens, getting everybody off the street.
Right.
The signboards, excuse me,
Okay.
the signboards will be posted day or two before, letting the people know that on Saturday, October 31st, trick or treating on Bender Avenue is going to go from 2 to 7. That's it. And then come at that time, we have the officers on a bike patrol and the radio cars with the lights and telling everybody, you know, with the social media, with the help of Roselle Park, you know, news, my Facebook page, the councilman's Facebook pages, it will, you know, it would be getting out there.
We can put a first alert out
The
too.
hours, and we can do a first alert.
That would be great.
So the whole town would know.
We
I
can
mean,
do, you know what the first alert is?
residents are here. Nobody was
The
there.
first alert is that you get the bleep on your phone. Hi, this is the Union County Police Department. We're just letting you know that bat. That's what they mean by first alert.
That's good. That'd be ideal.
That's good. So,
We could put that out, Mayor, tomorrow, we could put it out Thursday, Friday, and we can do it 3 days in a row.
But that's
See
good
fit.
because it reaches all of Union County that signed up, and that will let the neighboring towns know that that's it.
yes. Yes.
So you're suggesting adding another hour of trick or treating?
What's that?
You're adding an extra hour?
Again, I mean, there's
that's just-
incidences where, I mean, there's been past incidents where it's gone from, you know, from 2 to 6, 2 to 7. You
And
know.
I know I'm out of candy in like 2 hours. You know, 2,000 pieces of candy in.
Actually, to tell you the truth, one of the businesses on Chestnut Street is asking for donations for candy to bring it down to Bender Avenue to give it to help out with the residents. I suggested that we go down, but the more I thought about it, I don't want to get, you know, I said we would go down and hand out candy ourselves, but then I don't want to get, you know, political size. It's not, if I want to come down, I'll come to your house with some candy and help you, come to your house, come to his house, and do it that way. I took it off the board. It's the residents, it doesn't need, you know, for us to, you know, because it just leaves a bad taste, and I'd rather have the Hershey bar taste.
Hey, Carl?
Yes,
What
sir.
about the rest of the town?
What was that?
The rest of the town, is there going to be the same thing?
Oh, yeah, no, the rest of the town, yeah.
The whole town?
I mean, there, you know, by some areas throughout the state of New Jersey, they make it mandated that because it falls on a Saturday and a Sunday, they set the hours. So that's what we would do. We would
So
set
it'll
the
be
hours, I would say
townwide.
throughout town-wide,
Okay.
you know, that the trick-or-treating will go from, except for the trunk-or-treat, which is 11 to 1, that the trick-or-treating in Roselle Park would go from 2 to 7.
Did you know that the library is also doing a trick or treat between 11 and 1
On Saturday?
Saturday?
That might be because of the kids in the library program. I can't,
I know, I only found out when I went
believe me when I'm
today.
telling you, there's days that things overrun, The Boy Scouts are doing, the same thing, like, I can remember one time, I belonged to Knights of Columbus, we were doing a car wash, and the Boy Scouts were doing a car wash. Me personally, I would give anybody to help me do a townwide calendar. I would love that somebody can call up and say, oh, by the way, I want to do this, and say, oh, I'm sorry, the Boy Scout Troop 56 is selling wreaths that day. Just to give the people an idea that we don't overlap,
Right.
different things, but let's stick with Halloween right now. So, and going back to listening to your conversation, yes, it was a creation done by the people that no longer live there.
Right.
One of the famous art teachers that live to the other end of town now, and of course, the McGillises that, it's a creation of their own
But
doing.
my point was,
Yeah.
there's less and less participation from the residents and more people.
To a certain point, yes. I walk it every year, and I do see, nobody home,
Right.
Out of candy,
Right.
which is understandable.
Right.
I mean, you figure if you get 3,000 kids, and there's nothing cheap anymore.
No.
There's no more penny bubble
No, I
gum.
stopped
So it's
getting
not like
those
you can
years.
go get, 4,000 pieces of bubble gum for a penny.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's crazy today, and I understand that. And I understand the fact that I know that you have to work and, to move the car, but,
Well, it's not just one, it's all four, and
Yeah.
nobody's in the same spot.
Yeah. So, it was a creation done by, the people who didn't, and I understand that. But to be honest with you, I get calls, I have good friends of mine that live in Staten Island. They come here because it's safe.
Right.
And I think that is something that you, people on Bender Avenue, should pat yourselves on the back. Plus, the fact that if you know me personally, I've said it from day one, safety is my #1 goal, as long as I'm sitting in that office or
Right.
sitting in that chair. Safety is my #1 goal. And we've done it with the help of the police department. We got guys that volunteer. The captain and the chief, we juggle it, that we don't have to use the taxpayers' money, to pay the overtime. The first aid squad comes down on the bikes. So it's something that you people can actually say, I'm proud of this. I mean, that's the way I feel. And I understand the hardships, yes,
But
Lord.
it's not only the hardships, it's
Yeah.
the inconveniences, it's the inconsideration of the people that don't live in town,
Mhm,
the mess they leave.
mhm.
I mean, they have no problem trampling across your lawns. I mean, they're just very disrespectful of everybody's property.
Right.
Mayor, would you consider, and this, I heard this this lady earlier, I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
Sharon Marshall.
Mrs. Marshall, I'm sorry. Now that you say that, I heard about it. Would it be an option to have the street sweeper come in on Monday morning, first thing?
Well, yeah, we
And
can,
come and
yeah.
sweep the streets there?
Yeah, we'll have, yes. We'll make arrangements at the DPW, come down on
Well,
Monday.
they come on Mondays anyway.
Huh?
They usually come on
Yeah,
Mondays.
Monday, I know they do my street on Hemlock.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we can do that, or if it's that bad, I'll bring them in on Sunday, if it's that bad. And, if that's the
But maybe
case,
put in
we'll,
your first alert to make sure parents, tell the kids to respect everybody's property.
well, I don't know how the word, how that's, can you give out a statement?
It's a limited message. If you've seen it before, it's a limited message, so we have to
Right.
put the
Sometimes
most
it comes
pertinent
through as
things.
3 or 4 texts, depending on
Right.
how long it is.
You say it will end promptly at 7.
Wherever the time is.
Yes, sir.
Will the police department put up no parking signs on both sides of the street on Bender?
Typically, we haven't, and it's worked fine without doing that, because, there is no signs on the 200 block of Bender, or there's limited. So we used to put stakes in the ground, we had signs made at the county, but we found that our signboard works pretty well, so we haven't in the past, but we weren't planning on doing it.
Sign.
Well, again, we depending on how much is in the message for the first alert, we will, how about this? I will personally have my borough clerk make a flyer tomorrow, run off 100 copies, or 200, 150 copies, and we'll personally hand them out to every door, stating that Halloween, the 31st will be from 2 to 7. Cars, the barricades will be going up at 1 o'clock.
At 2 o'clock is the time.
2 o'clock, we'll have the barricades up at 2. We'll have the flashing signboards. Now, the signboards, do they go up at a certain hour? They gotta go all 24 hours?
Yeah.
So I don't want somebody trying to go to sleep and there's this ding, ding, ding.
Well, they would be shining at the street, they wouldn't be aimed at a house. They would be
Okay.
on the roadway going north and
Okay.
south.
All right. We'll have 3 signboards up ahead of time, stating the time, the hours. We'll give out the first alert.
I was gonna hand them out.
Jake, you've already gone past your 6 minutes, but go ahead.
I'm not old.
I get an email and text message.
Also, the Knights of Columbus, I have heard that they were going to donate any extra candy
Yes,
when they close. So,
yes,
that would help.
yes.
I doubt they'll have anything left.
Well, put it this way, when we had the first trunk retreat during that, what was it, during
It's right
Sandy?
after Sandy.
Right after Sandy, it was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. We had 200 cars, it was phenomenal. Last year, when I was up there, I think we had about maybe 35 to 40 cars, so it dropped off drastically. But depending on, now it's a Saturday and a lot of people are home, we'll see what happens. And whatever it is left over, we can bring it down, plus Joe and Jody's is collecting, and the library's collecting for any, stuff to be brought down and, handed out.
And they'll distribute to.
Here, hand,
the residents.
distributed, to the residents. Right. So, we will do that. I will have the borough clerk, we'll have a flyer made up. This is first ward
I was gonna hand it out
councilman.
anyway, but she
So,
brings it up.
She'll bring it up, we'll get it made out. Councilman Petrowski in the second ward. We'll make it a point to hand them out. Halloween is from 2 to 7. Barricades will be going up at 1. And please respect the people's property and please don't litter. And what happens is if it's that bad on Sunday, we'll go out and we'll get little sticks and get clean communities and whatever, to try to make it, yes, sir.
Maybe leave garbage cans on the streets?
We could.
Yeah.
I mean, we could. We can ask if the homeowner wants to put one out with a plastic bag.
What about the town?
Well, I mean, we've got to move it from one location to another.
Yeah, they don't move easy.
You've got garbage cans anyway, so just pull one out and put it.
Yeah.
They don't use them anyway, I can tell you that.
Yes, sir.
I'm probably the oldest one here in terms of one of the original families, and I have to say that, many, many years ago when we first started, it got to be a real hazard because you had kids, and Bender Avenue doesn't have any sidewalks, and it was a great spot for mothers and carriages, and that's why it started. And yes, a lot of the original families have moved away, but we do have some people now that are in their 80s, and they sit on the front steps, and when they're out of candy, they close their door.
Right.
The police department goes back to your day, but we've never had an issue in terms of safety, anybody getting hurt, and I really think that's because the police department is there, they have a presence, it's well lit, and it's controlled. I mean, they wouldn't let me drive down the street to park my car there, I've been there for a long time. And in terms of the kids and so forth, I think 3 years ago, when somebody put it on one of the news channels, we had buses coming in, and people were parked in the neighborhood. The last 2 years, I have to say, 9 out of 10 kids say thank you. And if you don't say trick or treat on my front lawn, I say, excuse me. And if you don't say thank you, I say, and here's what you said. I'm going to say 9 out of 10 kids say thank you. And probably 7 out of 10 come up the walkway and not across the lawns. And I've had mothers chastise their kids. You walk up the stairs or they call them back.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's not chaos because there's little kids all over the place. But if it wasn't,
And you know what's even better?
if it wasn't for the police presence there, and you have some idiots, and I use that term not political.
I think sometimes it's more fun for the adults.
Oh, there's adults that get
I've
frustrated.
seen,
early.
I've seen some of the adults really. have a
But
good
7
time.
o'clock's a good time too, because that cuts down the older kids.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, when they show up with no costume, what are you supposed to be? I'm a student. Where's your books?
Get to school then.
Yeah. So I think that's, again, I think it's a good community effort, and it does.
Tell us some old war stories. Well, don't forget, when I was trick-or-treating, the Hershey bar was in Nichols, this big. Okay? And we used to know, like me and him would, like, I'd have the Ronald Reagan mask on and he'd have another mask. So what we would do is we'd go to the houses. Oh, that lady gives out the Hershey bar. So now we switch masks. He go back the second time. So, no, but luckily, honestly, truly, that's I always knock on wood. So,
Yeah.
that's what we will do, if that's okay. We'll have it from 2 to 7. Barricades go up at 1. First alerts will be going out Thursday, Friday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, first alert. With the message, can you text me the message this way here? If some, you have an email or anything that we can.
Well, I get them on my email and on my text message.
Oh, well, because what I was going to say was I would forward it to you to say, yeah, okay, this is fine, but.
I trust you will do a wonderful job.
Okay, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the first alerts will be going out. The reason why we needed it, as far as the times go, because the county has to set up the boards themselves.
Right.
As far as digitizing them. We have one here, we'll put them out.
Yeah, that's the one.
You want
that's-
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Thursday, Friday, and Saturday?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Halloween will be from 2 to 6. That's it, 2 to 7. 2 to 7.
So if you went to 6, then you probably end up at 7.
And, yeah,
It
because it
doesn't
takes a
work.
long time. to
Takes
get
a
it.
while for the kids then.
But even last year, it was till 8 o'clock, and it was 8:30, quarter to 9 before they came to the
No,
clear
I think 5 hours is enough.
When they come through,
Yeah.
I'm going to say, you know, you always get the residuals. You get them to come early and you get some that come late. But once the police comes through with the blinking lights, and a lot of the kids, like on Bender Avenue, I'm going to say there's still a lot of kids. I mean, they'll stand out in the front and kibitz until, 8:30, but we don't get a lot of people coming through after that. Once those guys come through, that's it. So.
Okay? Any question for the captain, for the police department?
So after 1 o'clock, you cannot drive your vehicle in?
Yeah, we'll close the roads with the anticipation of people being there at 2.
Jeff?
Yeah, no, I think that all sounds great. I was just going to say that this will be the absolute biggest, most enormous crowd ever, because last Friday, when it was on a Friday, was the absolute biggest, most enormous weekday ever, because I give one piece per kid. It was 2,200 pieces of candy I gave out, 2,200 kids. We never had 2,200 kids on a weekday before.
What part of it?
I'm 300.
Bender?
Yeah, in the middle. So I'm going to guess a good 3,500 kids. And I think I bought 4,000 pieces just to get me to that point. And then however many parents come with those 3,500 kids.
We get about 3,100.
58
Yeah,
parties.
that's, yeah.
58 probably Sunny, so.
Have the ROTC applications out there.
So, all right, is that okay?
Yep.
Everybody? Saturday, 2 to 7, barricades go up at 1, we'll be putting out first alerts Thursday and Friday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the signboards will be going out Thursday, Friday, Saturday, hours are strictly from 2 to 7.
I'll get the flyers out as soon as they're printed out.
Yeah. I'll call the borough
I'll
clerk
print it,
tomorrow.
I'll hit my ward.
Like I
and
said, if you need help, just,
If
Now,
Mr.
will
Petrowski
the
is
police
busy,
go
I'll even do his.
Sheridan Avenue too, at the end of it, to announce that it's
You got something
closing,
going on, Joe? You mind? I'll hand them out.
Certainly, all right, okay.
Mr. Mayor, will you and Captain McCaffrey look at the camera? I think-
Ladies and gentlemen, Halloween, Saturday, 2 to 6, 2 to 7, 2 to 7 on Bender Avenue, the 12300 block. Barricades go up at 1, it'll be over, the signboards are going up, and the police department giving out first alerts, and we will be giving out flyers.
Be there or be square.
Done. Thank you. Okay?